All right. We are live for the third fucking time in 1 week. It is another edition of Extra Innings of Savages in the Bronx, episode number 3. And of course, Tom, we were expecting to have one or two of these episodes for the MLB trade deadline, which is now, I believe, tomorrow at 3 p.m., 4 p.m. But
It's 4 p.m.
Wasn't expecting to have multiple episodes in 1 week and maybe the potential of a third, depending on what happens tomorrow. But the Yankees
or
have made
tonight.
another acquisition.
Yes, the Yankees have, against our suggestions, our will, our thoughts, the Yankees have traded for a true rental, Anthony Rizzo, coming over from the Cubs for two actually higher-ranked prospects, at least preseason-wise, than last night's trade. Going Vizcaíno, who's our preseason 9th-ranked best prospect, and Alcántara.
Kevin Alcántara.
Our 12th ranked prospect in the system, going over to the Cubs for a few months of Anthony Rizzo. The most important thing about, well, not the most important thing about, but another important thing about this is the Cubs are eating all of his salary. So the Yankees, we've talked about it probably since episode 1 of Savages in the Bronx. They are not going to go over the luxury tax. They want to reset that number. So this allows them to keep doing that. And, hey, big power hitting lefty coming to the Bronx. I saw a tweet when I was looking at everything saying, Cashman realized that left-handed power bats are important for Yankee Stadium.
He just woke up and realized it.
Yeah.
He woke up and realized it. Not like most Yankee fans with the brain was saying from the beginning of the season, this team is really structured badly and they should have more lefties on this team and not just old man Brett Gardner that Tom has the most affection for.
I do. I mean, listen, I do, but he did. I don't know how much you watched of the game today. You were working. I was not.
I actually did watch all of that game, which is
and he just
why they lost.
Dropped a ball in the outfield. Dropped it. No, it didn't matter.
The basket catch up against the wall.
It didn't matter, but bad for Brett. But listen, this brings again a power hitting lefty bat into Yankee Stadium, into the Yankees lineup. Going to be playing first base, which means we kind of hinted that there might be a third episode of Extra Innings this week. We'll see, because it sounds like Voigt's going to be on his way out. It looks like the I don't even know. I'm trying on the words of it. The constant flirtation, the constant, will they, won't they with Kyle Schwarber could be happening. I know the Yankees have always have interest in him. The Nats, traded Scherzer, so they're selling. Schwarber could come as well. Another left-handed power hitting bat.
But it's again okay. So now you're facing a dilemma here. If you bring in a guy like that, hypothetically, where do you put these guys? I mean, you got now 3 guys that kind of limit you where you could put them position-wise. Schwarber's a corner outfielder. I think Schwarber's catching days are done.
Oh, yeah.
Rizzo obviously is just a first baseman.
Not an MLB
Gal's
show.
now just been pushed to the outfield. This is like confirming that he's just going to be an outfielder. So it's where do you put these guys if that's the case?
Well, in MLB The Show, Schwarber does have catching eligibility in that monthly card.
We won't talk about the 98 Lightning Kyle Schwarber, who is fantastic. And
I actually don't like that card at all. I kind of hate that card. But anyway, I mean, who knows? They listen, they could run some kind of stacked psycho outfield where they have Gallo in center, Schwarber in left, and Judge in right, and they just say, we're here to hit balls far.
Well, I proposed a good point, like, watching, and I did watch the Yankee broadcast and listen in, and there is talk that Giancarlo Stanton's going to be starting in the outfield during this Miami Marlins series. So now, is your outfield going to truly see something along the lines of a Stanton in left field, a Judge in center, and a Gallo in right, or vice versa, with now Rizzo taking first base? I mean, you're looking at some kind of sick team when it comes to bats, but on the flip side, you could also be seeing a high strikeout game every week.
You're going to see a high strikeout game, and listen, if they're running that outfield, you're not running the speediest of outfielders out there.
No. Absolutely not.
Judge moves for the size of Aaron Judge. He moves well. Again, Gallo for how large he is moves well. But you would not call them, speedsters in the outfield. So that is going to be an issue. Well, I guess we'll see. I mean, it's not confirmed or anything that Voigt's going to go for Schwarber, but it sounds like Voigt's going to go. So it just depends. I know he still has some controllable years. He led the league in homers last year, so he has a lot of value. He's just hurt all the time. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with him. But for now, it's going to be interesting to see what this lineup looks like, adding now 2 massive power lefties to a lineup who, left-handed hitting was the worst in the league. I saw a lot of tweets last night that Gallo basically alone had more home runs and RBIs than every Yankee left-handed hitter all season, something like that. So,
right. No, it'll be interesting. And we'll touch on Voigt in a little bit because I kind of want to talk about a potential suitor for Luke Voigt. But that lineup, you mentioned what that lineup would possibly look like. So, of course, everybody's putting on their Aaron Boone hat, and you got to put a
little sideways if you're putting the Aaron Boone hat on.
Sideways action, little flat lid like that. I really don't like seeing myself with fucking glasses on. By the way, this is like a reveal to all our hardcore savages in the Bronx fans. I am a Four Eyes. So
there you go. Can we talk about how great it is that Aaron Boone does rock the flat brim hat? Like,
I'm not.
It's hilarious.
I'm not a fan of the look though, but I guess it's hip.
I just think it's funny.
Rodney, I guess.
I just find it funny. But this lineup. I mean, let's see. I'm gonna pull out like a pen and a paper here.
Let's figure out. I wish I had a last minute graphic to put up.
We're gonna start DJ leading off. Let's just do in theory. Let's get crazy, Yankee fans. We just traded for two big players here. Let's do the in theory healthy guys wild card game lineup. This is everyone is healthy. This is the A lineup. This is what we're running out.
Okay, let's go.
So we're going to start with DJ at second.
No Aaron Hicks. Aaron Hicks, we're going to rule out for the season.
No, yeah. I would say he's out. Yeah. So we got DJ leading off, playing second base, right-handed hitter. We know Judge likes the 2-hole. We have these lefties now, so I don't know how they're going to want to stack that in. Do they want to put Rizzo here? Do they want to put Gallo here? Or do they keep Judge in a spot that he likes? What do you think?
See, it's tough because I'm gonna be very controversial with mine because I've been really thinking on mine, and I think what you said LeMahieu, and obviously LeMahieu is an easy one to put at 1, but to me, I'm like, man, I would love to do my best to try to split up these all or nothing bats, and to be honest, I might lead off Aaron Judge. I might do something completely against the norm here, and I'm just thinking again. If there's a way I can try to break up the potential that most of this team is striking out in the game, how do I do that consistently so it's not stacked? Everybody's not stacked. It's almost impossible to do, but I'm going to give it a try. So, Tom, you keep running your lineup. And
I'll run my lineup here. I'm going to put Judge in the 2-hole. I know they made a big deal that he likes playing. He likes hitting in the 2-hole. He's our guy. He's not a guy coming in at the end. I think he kind of can a bit call his shot where he wants to hit in the lineup. He's playing right field. Third, I guess you're going to have – third, I guess you put Gallo. Got to figure out what position he's playing at this point. I guess he's going to be playing left field. I'd have Gallo there. So that we got righty, lefty. Now, I mean, it has to be Stan. I see what you're saying with the strikeouts, but listen, that's what we got. We got a team of power and strikeouts. This is what we have. So I just don't see a way you get around that. I have him at DH. Then we have Rizzo playing first, lefty. So we go righty, lefty. The 5-hole, 6-hole, Gary. All right, I would guess Gary catching.
Don't mind my silence. I'm just writing mine out.
Yeah.
Gary catching
the
right
6th
now,
hole.
If you're just joining us and you're seeing our heads are down and we're not saying anything, we're writing out our potential lineup, healthy going down the stretch, but we're taking out Hicks because we assume Hicks is done for the season. And I'm assuming we're taking out Voit because we're thinking Voit's going to be traded by Friday. So
yeah,
this is what the lineup should look like for the most part going ahead. But I feel good about the one I just put together.
I guess it ends up being Glaber. I guess I put Glaber at 7 playing short. Then you got Gio, another right-handed bat playing third, and then I honestly at this point I think who knows? At this point it's going to be Greg Allen playing center, batting 9th.
Yes, at this rate I would say. He's a switch hitter, I think, too.
He's a switch hitter. Cool. Listen, that's where we feel like right now. Greg Allen could very easily come back to earth and become. He already has a bit slowed down, even though he's had some big hits in Tampa. So I don't know. As of right now, yes, I think he should be starting in center field. If not, then that's where I guess you're going to see old man Brett out there, patrolling center field.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess that's kind of what I put together there. That is a very powerful, very slow,
very
kind of like unathletic lineup. And,
when you're top. If without Greg Allen, I think the fastest guy in this lineup is Judge, which is unfortunate, but this is the structure of the team. So I went with this. This is very against the norm, and it's certainly a lineup that Aaron Boone's never going to put out here. So just ignore me for the next.
You never know. I usually do.
But again, I'm going with trying to split up the all or nothing with contact. So I guess smartly on my behalf, I'm starting this lineup off with an all or nothing player, but he has been our MVP offensively for the season and might as well get things going. Aaron Judge leading off in right field.
I don't think it's that crazy for Boone to do. He was hitting Voit leadoff for a while. Was it last year or 2 years ago? So I don't think that's insane.
It's not insane.
Although DJ has I don't know if he got on base today, but he had 38 straight games wrong. He got on base.
You also have 2 other lineups in baseball where their best player, their generational player, was leading off, and that I'm talking about the Padres with Fernando Tatis Jr. and the Braves with Ronald Acuna Jr. before he got hurt.
That's true. Those guys are a lot faster than Aaron Judge.
LeMahieu hitting second at second base.
Okay.
Now third, I got Joey Gallo, left field. So righty, lefty. And also, Judge and DJ have also been known to go to the opposite field as well. So, you have guys that can spray the ball around, and Gallo, the lefty, going to bomb. 4. This was a tough one to figure out. But I was like, you know what? I gave him number 1 on our rankings the other day. I'm going with Gio Urshela. I'm going with Urshela in the 4 spot. I feel like he wouldn't be a guy who would be necessarily a rally killer. I like him as a guy who can probably stretch innings out and bring around big parts of this order. Batting 5th, I got Giancarlo Stanton, DH. Then this is where it got tough because I was like, all right, I'm running out of all or nothing guys, but this guy's trying to get it back together. He's had a better last few weeks. I have Gleyber Torres in the 6th spot at shortstop. Then I have Rizzo batting 7th at first base, lefty. So righty, lefty, righty, lefty, righty, and Gary Sanchez batting 8th. And then Greg Allen wrapping up the lineup, the switch hitter batting 9th. So again, tried my very best to split it up, but it was impossible to do because eventually I had Rizzo and Sanchez next to each other. So it is what it is. And you can make that argument that Torres as a late could be an all or nothing sort of deal, but that's the best I could really do with this. And I kind of hoped that a guy that they could have acquired if they really were going to go for it was like an Adam Frazier type player that can split it up and kind of go against the grain of what Yankee baseball has been for the last few years. So again, let's staying on the trade here because of course that's the biggest thing. We're talking about the trade. I think it's a decent move for this team that wanted a lefty bat it's a rental player. You're giving up your number, what would we say, our number 9 and number 12 prospect for. So it is a bigger loss for a lesser player, in my opinion. Obviously, I think me and you can agree. Joey Gallo is the more valuable player, is the more sought after player. He's the better player between the two. So it is a very interesting move. And I think this one kind of confirms that the Yankees are going for it this year.
They are. And one thing I do want to point out, I had read kind of, not a lot about it, but I read a little bit about this last night. And I was trying to preface this as much when we're talking about those prospects, that those are the preseason rankings, and that basically at this point of the year, they don't mean a lot. Some of the guys that we did trade for Gallo, if they reshuffled the rankings today, would have been much higher. So we said no top 10 prospects, but I think if they had gotten reshuffled, there's a chance that some of them would have been top 10 prospects, and some of these guys might have even moved up. So it is nothing. I mean, the Yankees have their kind of the known prospects we hear about. We hear about the Martian, we hear about Peraza, we hear about Heel, we hear about Austin Wells, we hear about Medina. We've seen a little bit of Schmidt, we've seen a little bit of Devi. Those are the ones we know about. But I think some of these other guys are probably closer to that 8, 9, 10 spot that we've moved than this was our 18th rated prospect, but by the way, he's been crushing it in single A or double A and is going to move up. So I think it's important to note. I got a question for you, Rich. So
what do you got?
Again, Rizzo, true rental, right? He's a free agent at the end of the year.
That is correct.
Do we think the Yankees look at this as a bit of a tryout? Hey, Rizzo, see if you like it here. Maybe we want to sign you in the offseason.
This team needs left-handed hitting for that stadium. So, yeah, I agree. I think this is definitely more of a foot in the water tryout, if you want to call it that. And again, you also have to consider that the Yankees, don't want to bring back Rizzo for, I don't know what kind of contract he's going to ask for. I can't think it's going to be something crazy. He's 31 years old. He is, not one of the stronger first basemen in the game, than he was like a few years ago. They also have DJ LeMahieu, who could obviously cover that position as well. And they're going to have another question to answer if they still are going to stick with their man at shortstop, Gleyber Torres, because if they feel that that's not going to be how the philosophy is going to go, then they're probably going to go after the big shortstop in the offseason. So if they go after the big shortstop in the offseason, it's bye-bye to Rizzo because there's no room for a player like that on this team, unfortunately.
It'll be interesting to see. I think this team, I mean, we'll see if they do a lot of reshaping. I got another question for you. I got an over-under for you. Over-under the first press conference, Rizzo is asked, does he prefer deep dish pizza to New York style pizza?
I don't think.
Over under 3 questions get asked to him before they say, Anthony, now you're in New York. Tell us how much you hate deep dish pizza.
We're taking the over. I don't even know if that question is going to be asked, but
you don't think the question is going to be asked?
Yeah, I mean, listen, they're not inviting savages in the Bronx to the press room.
Oh, that question's going to be asked. I get it.
But that would be a question that
his first press conference, he is being asked that. So I'll get.
So Anthony Rizzo, Joey Gallo now in the full, and it's actually funny how last night how we reported on the trade, and that trade, half that trade changed because the Yankees got a different reliever than when we reported. They got Joey Rodriguez,
one who's not hurt.
John King. They also are keeping 2 of those prospects that they're sending, so it's only 4 prospects that went in that deal, which is now official. So Gallo is officially in pinstripes. And I would assume that he will be raring to go for this Marlins series tomorrow.
That's good. Listen, the buzz, I mean, it stinks that this game is going to be in Miami and not in New York, because the buzz that would create in Yankee Stadium with, hey, we had the heartbreak in Boston. We did just take 2 or 3 in Tampa. Mm-hmm. Oh, by the way, we just traded for Joey Gallo and Anthony Rizzo, and they're both here now, and they're in the lineup. I think that park would be just nuts.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, this is coming from 2 guys that on Monday were like, stand pat, stand pat. Yesterday, before the Joey Gallo trade, stand pat. Don't do anything stupid. Don't make any crazy moves. Your team is not that good. Your team just lost 14-0 to the goddamn Tampa Bay Rays again when they should have swept them again. Like, they can't close out any series, which is fucking crazy to me. So, yes, they have the Marlins for the next 3. They come back home on Monday, of course. right when we're doing another episode of Savage in the Bronx against the Baltimore Orioles. So it could be a nice little beatdown with the newbies. And then here's a good series coming up. 4 games at home against the Seattle Mariners.
I mean, listen, it's there. I think they're at the very least, this should give the guys in that clubhouse, a bit of a kick in the ass. Like, listen, we're bringing in some guys because some of you aren't really, making it happen right now. Yep. It's going to bring some sparks, bring some energy to the team and to the fans. Again, we didn't want them to make this trade, but we're excited right now. Like, it's a drug. Like, you can't not be excited with the idea of like, oh wow, we just had it. A great first baseman, power hitting lefty that we've been asking for.
Yeah, when these moves happen, I think our first reaction is, oh shit, and then, all right, who do we give up? And if the who do we give up doesn't make you sick to your stomach, then it's like, okay, then let's go. Let's see what happens. So, and these 2 deals, and again, I feel like this was a more of a bigger loss than it was the Gallo deal, just because it's 2 prospects that are within the top 12 of your system. But at the same time, Yankee prospects kind of suck, Tom. When was historically speaking, like if we're really gonna get down to it, and this is something we haven't really talked about on the show, but the Yankee development is absolute crap, and it's known crap, and these prospects never really pan out, and and yes, you hope for the best in Jason Dominguez because of what the scouts are saying, and you just hope that is like, all right, all your cards are into that one. But over the years, all the guys that have come through the farm that would move on or came out and didn't pan out. I mean, you could talk Jesus Montero and Zach McAllister and, Caprillion, God bless his soul. He's doing great for Oakland right now. But Jorge Panteo and fucking Justin Sheffield. So it's like, I'm like, all right, whatever. So if you're not going to really use these guys or use them right, rather just fucking move them.
No, I agree. Judge obviously panned out. He was a first round pick. He panned out. A little guy named Derek Jeter worked out coming through the system, but the Yankees don't have a great history.
30 years, Tom.
Yeah, they have a better history, and they generally have a better history of doing international signees than they do of drafting players. But even that, they haven't brought up a lot of guys. I mean, Gary, he is still as catchers go in the year 2021. He's a very good catcher. He's a very good offensive catcher. Yeah. But yeah, they don't tend to, develop these guys on their own. A lot of the guys even on the team that, maybe weren't big free agent signees were, trades, and things like that with Glaber and Gio, Hicks when he was there. We got Brett Gardner. Brett Gardner's developed.
All right. Well, anyway, I think last point I wanted to make because I mentioned I was gonna bring it up. So Luke Voit. So we have to think within the next 24 hours, Luke Voit's gonna be on the move.
I can't imagine they'd be keeping him. I mean, I don't know where they would. There's nowhere for him right now.
Hypothetically, if he's on the move, again, I feel like this is going to happen. Who is a suitor that would make sense for Luke Voit?
I mean, I think a lot of teams could use a Luke Voit because not all teams are so right-handed heavy like the Yankees are. Luke, you could have a right-handed hitting first baseman who led the league in homers last year, and that can be an asset on just about any team. So,
right.
And he does have some years still under contract that aren't, he's not getting paid that much. So he is although injury prone, is a valuable chip. They've been talking and sniffing and being all around Kyle Schwarber. Does that happen? I don't know. But again, where does he even fit in at this point is a little bit of a question mark. If not, is there a starting pitcher out there you could go for? Maybe, or honestly, could you just unload Voit and pick up restock some of that farm system?
I think that
is there a team that needs a first baseman that says
move that makes sense? I would
like, hey, let's get some, Voit. I think Voit has a decent amount of value. The only reason he's getting traded is because he's a right-handed bat. I think you could pick up, some middle tierish prospects from a team. That might be interested in him. I'm going
through every team in baseball that would be in it and would want a first baseman for their run here. And I'm not finding many. And I And the one team I just came across that intrigues me is Seattle, which is funny enough that I just mentioned they're playing Seattle in a few days.
They also just kind of sold to one of the division. So I don't know if Seattle's really going for it.
It's very weird because it seems like they're going for it. I mean, they just made this move for Diego Castillo right before we just got on the air.
Thank God, because he dominates the Yankees.
Yeah, he dominates the Yankees. He fucking messes them up. But they're a very weird team. But that's a team that definitely could use a first baseman. Now that I'm looking at the team, that's a team can definitely use a first baseman. Right now, it's Ty France, who is their guy, who's had a decent year, but they also have basically a flex designated hitter role right now. They have a few guys filling out that spot. So there's a home for a guy like that. And if you're pulling in a couple of prospects from Seattle, I'm taking that. I'm not expecting, believe it or not, I can't believe I'm saying it like this, but I'm not expecting a Luke Voit for Giovanni Gallegos kind of trade here. I'm expecting at this rate, at his career, Voigt's probably going to get traded for prospects.
Yeah, I think that would make the most sense. They have the room, they have the money. I could see maybe if they trade him and they maybe pick up like a bullpen arm and then maybe like a prospect tied to it, something like that. So we'll see. Again, I think Voit, if healthy, which has been a big question mark for the last couple of years, is a very nice piece a team should want.
Oh yeah.
So it comes down to, who like I feel like at this point it's just like, who like, the highest bidder, and the Voit might not even need to go to a contender, right? Because he's hurt and he's injury, he's coming back from injury. Who knows he's going to be healthy? Yep. We talked about the Stroman trade yesterday. This could be a Stroman trade kind of move. A team that says, listen, we think we're a year away. Voit can help us next year.
Yes.
So let's trade for him, and he'll be in our plans for next year. We'll kind of get him used to the team this year, and then we'll be ready to roll in 2022. So that could be another move that a team looks to make.
And in that sense, it's like, all right, well, that opens it up a bit. And I'm just like, again, I'm like looking across teams in baseball, and I'm like,
or he's trading for Trevor Story or just whatever.
The first base position is deep. I'm just gonna say that it's always been a deep position, but it's just I look at every single one of these teams, I'm like, they got somebody. Even in division, the Orioles got somebody. It's like everybody's got somebody that can cover that position. And it's like the one team I'm looking at that's like, that makes sense is Seattle, and they're in it. So it could be a move. You just mentioned the Rockies with Trevor Story. Yes, they have flexibility there. They could have Voit. I mean, Voit in Coors Field, if he's healthy, goddamn, Jesus. Home runs galore.
I mean, listen, the Story still is going to probably be on the move. I don't know. Again, and then at that point, well, I guess you should go. Well, no, because you're not sliding DJ. What are you going to do? I guess you have Rizzo.
The Yankees are out of the running for Story.
You say that, but you never know.
This trade takes them out of the running for Story. This trade confirms that they're out of the running for Story, which they should. I mean, again, I don't think they should trade for Story, overpay for a rental. I think if you're talking offense, I think if you're asking me, I think offensively, I think they're done. I think if you're making one more move, if you're really going to go for it, and this move confirmed that they're going for it, you go get a reliever, and I think that's it. You get a guy that's going to help you out in the back end of the bullpen, and I think that's it. Starter, I'm on the fence with because you have guys that are returning. So you're kind of getting you're acquiring guys for free. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it depends. I think a lot of those starters, though, again, who knows if the Yankees are going to make that wild card game. And if they do, that's one game, and Coles could be on the bump, and that's how that game is going to go. But if they miraculously make that wild card, or not miraculously, they very well could make that wild card game. And if they win that wild card game, I think that rotation is almost going to have to be, like a piggyback situation, because a lot of these guys aren't going to be able to build up. It's going to have to be something like, Kluber starts, goes 3, and then Sevy comes in and gives you 2.
Right.
Like, I think that's if they are going to get to the playoffs, that's going to be more of the formula, because a lot of these guys can't necessarily be trusted. I guess you could throw a guy like Kluber out there and see how long he can carry you. But the idea that he's not going to get replaced, maybe he gets replaced mid-inning by a high leverage guy, but then you're going to bring in another former starter who can give you 2, 3, 4 innings. And that's the formula. A starter, but then who knows what kind of starters are out there. Generally teams that are bad don't have good starters. So there's not, I don't think there's a lot out there on that market. The biggest one was with Scherzer, who is now going to San Diego, which that's a scary team. It's a scary team getting scarier.
Yeah. Well, Tom, I don't know. Was this a full episode of Savage in the Bronx or an extra innings? Because we just went the full 30 minutes.
Yeah. So do we not have to do a show on Monday?
I guess we don't have to do a show on Monday now.
That's kind of nice.
We'll see you guys in a couple of weeks then. But actually, quick announcement for anybody who's listening, and it seems like we have minimal viewers, and I can't blame you guys because we didn't give this fanfare at all for the most part. We will be off. I believe the date was August the 9th, if I'm not mistaken. So August 2nd, we have a show that's going to be episode number, what are we up to now? 19? Jesus. Episode number 19 coming up next Monday, August the 2nd, and August 9th, there will be no episode of Savage in the Bronx. So just giving you guys the heads up. But Tom, I want to say I'll see you Monday, but I may see you as soon as maybe tonight, maybe tomorrow. I don't know.
Like I said, and listen, there is if you see us tonight, it'll be in a very similar situation. If the show must go on tomorrow, there's gonna be a different version of Tom on the screen in a different format as well. It'll be fun. It'll be interesting. We'll see how that goes.
Yes,
we'll figure it out.
Savage in the Bronx on the road. Gotta love it.
Savage in the Bronx at the beach.
We'll see you when we see you. Can't guarantee when, but we'll let you know. So keep following us on Twitter at Savages Bronx for the latest. And yeah, folks. So take care.